All right, we're going to go ahead and get it started. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. For today's episode 181, we're going to be discussing the greatest, the greatest thing a man could give one another. So, if you have any questions for today's episode, make sure to leave in the comments whether you're watching this or watching this live. I'd appreciate any and every comment that's going to be had. A few things I want to say before I go ahead and get it started. Make sure to go and follow me on Twitch, TikTok, and on Rumble at Life of a Champ podcast on every single platform. And we're going to go and get this started. So yeah, this is a podcast that it randomly came to me as far as an idea that I thought that would be very very interesting for us to go ahead and talk about. So let's go ahead and get this started. So I'm gonna answer what it was because obviously it left you guys on a little bit of cliffhanger, right? So the greatest thing a man can offer another is a reasonable challenge. Now this is going to be something that I feel like not enough people take or utilize or view it in the same way that I would typically view it or somebody else would typically view it. So I want to kind of give you the positives and the benefits to taking this as a challenge. And like I said, it's not just any challenge because obviously one man can offer another man a truly unreasonable challenge for the man that offers the challenge and the one that's receiving the challenge, of course. So, like I said, the greatest thing a man can offer another is a reasonable challenge. So, with that being said, there's two mindsets you can truly have when it comes to approaching a challenge. So, let's just say somebody comes forth with you with the challenge. So, a challenge could look different in any type of way in any type of scenario. So, obviously, it's going to be unique to every single situation. So, maybe this challenge looks like a fight. Maybe this challenge looks like um, you guys lifting weights. Maybe this challenge will look like something competitive, maybe like in sports. Or maybe this challenge will be wanting you to be a better person or challenging you with a new habit that you can go ahead and go forth with, right? So there's many different challenges that will be had within this life, right? So there's really two ways that you can really approach this challenge. This what could be perceived as a challenge, right? There's one way where you can view it as, somebody getting offended, and more than likely that is definitely something that happens a lot more than what would need it to be for sure. So like I said, somebody gets challenged, somebody gets offered a challenge by another man, and it is one where he gets offended. So let's just say it attacks his ego, and instead of using that as fuel, he will use it as the opposite of that, right? So I do believe that this is going to be part of healthy masculinity, which will be challenges. And like I said, the alternatives to this would be to get better, right? You can either get offended or get better. There's one of the two ways you can go about this, right? So it is up to you to frame that within your mind. So if you see somebody giving you a challenge, there's two ways you can go about it. You could say, "This man is testing me," and I can get offended, and I could not go forth with the challenge, or I can get better, prove him wrong, maybe even prove him right, right? So there's two different ways to go about that for sure. Obviously, like I said, most people I would say they definitely take it as a personal attack. It is one where they get offended with. When you give them a new task, when you give them a challenge, like I said, no matter what aspect it is in, the physical or the mental, they take this as a less than ideal scenario. So let's just say you try to provoke them in a positive way, right? You try to challenge them in a positive way. Maybe they get offended. Maybe they want to fight, or maybe they will just reject the challenge in its totality, right? That is something that I like I said, it's something that they took as a personal attack as opposed to a um an opportunity to get better, right? For me, the way that I go about motivating most of the people within my life is by a challenge, truly. And like I said, it's going to be customized to every single person, and you obviously have to cater this to the person that you're talking to, which is going to be very very important. But essentially, what I'm trying to do, and this is what I would see within a lot of men, they do this unconsciously. Like I said, you're gonna present the challenge for somebody, right? Maybe this is challenging a mindset that they have. Maybe this is challenging a habit that they choose to uphold. Maybe this is challenging a way of being that they are, or maybe like I said, an identity that they have that they choose to uphold, maybe through habits that you know and they know that it's less than ideal or less than, yeah, it's just simply less than ideal, right? They understand that they could be doing something better with their time, right? People typically this has been my experience. And like I said, it also matters about how you frame it, of course. But through my experience, most people are not willing to accept the challenge. Most people are not willing to try to get their ideas that they've had and the paradigm of life that they have challenged. It truly is too world shaking for them, right? Or the people who have responded accordingly, the ones who accept it and embrace it, and who, like I said, who see it as an opportunity for them to get better. They say, okay, I hear what you're saying. Maybe you have the best intentions in mind for me, maybe you don't. But in the case that you do, what is the positive benefit that would come from this challenge? And evaluate it simply like that. So that whenever it comes to a person that is challenging you, what frame of mind are they coming from? Are they trying to actually better you in your life, or is it an actual attack? Because there is a clear difference between somebody actually attacking you through a challenge, obviously maybe like a fight or something like that, and then an actual challenge that is trying to get the best out of you, right? And that's simply what it is, right? The ones who challenge you physically and mentally are the ones who want to see your better self emerge. That's the way that I personally see it. And I'll give you the examples that kind of got me to this conclusion. And yeah, like I said, a lot of people when they have that applied pressure from the challenge, it really seems like it's a lack. It really seems like they have a lack of belief within themselves, which is why they don't embrace the challenge as opposed to another person. If you were to present that same challenge to another person, that same exact way, depending on the person and depending on the frame of mind that they have, when getting confronted with the challenge, is going to dictate whether they believe it is attack or it is something that can make them better. And I do believe that this is one of the most healthiest things when it comes to masculinity. Is men challenging others for the sake of a stronger bond of brotherhood that I deem to be an absolute essential to any and every endeavor that you want to go ahead and take forth with, right? So, with that being said, do you think that you have people right now within your life that are challenging you in the ways that would suggest a better version of yourself, or do you not? And I would say if you have friends that do not challenge you, that do not test you, that do not push to see how far you can go, that push your boundaries almost to an uncomfortable spot, I do not believe you have the best friends that you have. You don't. I don't believe that you have the best friends that you possibly could have, right? And I'm speaking from a masculinity paradigm, right? The bond of brotherhood that truly makes that bond grow tighter is simply accepted and embraced challenge. That's all it really is. And like I said, I've seen this time and time again with my own friends, where we would challenge. Let's just say challenge an idea. Maybe this would look like in the form of a debate, or like I said, a discussion, an argument, whatever you would like to call it, right? This could be simply that, or maybe it's in the gym. Maybe I challenge you to go ahead and perform just as well as I did on this same task, or maybe even better. Those are the moments that you could say, okay, I want to accept the challenge and I want to see if I can handle it. Or you could say, you know what, that's too much for me. I can't handle it. And why are you challenging me? Why are you attacking me? Right? There's literally only two paradigms you can truly have. So you must see which one is affecting you and how it is affecting you. If you are in the right frame of mind, I believe that you will take that as a challenge. And obviously, like I said, it's completely dependent on the specific challenge that is. But taking it as a chance to get better, as opposed to being offended by the challenge itself. Shout out to KJ, appreciate for stopping by. GDP, appreciate for stopping by. Jaden, appreciate for stopping by. Having a brotherhood of men that challenge each other is the best to strengthen them physically and mentally in life. Exactly my point of view. So I'm going to give you the example that I've gotten recently that really reestablished a lot of different things that I kind of already knew, but it brought it to the forefront of my thinking, which allowed me to, come up with this idea and obviously formalize it very, very well. So this is going to be with my boy Anthony. Me and him work out probably about four times, probably at least 4 or 5 times a week. And through this, I've always noticed that when it comes to specifically working out with him and with other men that I worked out with, as opposed to not working out with anyone or working out with women, is I'm able to get the best version of myself because there's a competitive nature that's there. And it's all within fun and games, which is kind of how it should be with friends, right? But me and Anthony have always joked in a way that would suggest pushing the other one to see how far they're willing to go, to see the limits of that person. Maybe that will even extend past what we think is attainable. Let's just say we were by ourselves, right? Maybe we wouldn't push as much. Maybe we wouldn't push ourselves as much if that person wasn't there. Which is why I would suggest for people to always have a bond of brotherhood in any and every endeavor that you want to go ahead and choose, because those men will challenge you. Those men should hold you accountable. The days that I don't want to go to the gym are the days that Anthony says, "Hey, let's go." And when the days he doesn't want to go to the gym are the exact days where I say, "Hey, you should be here at this time and let's get it, man. Let's get it rocking," right? And it's as simple as that. But that ability to hold somebody accountable, to challenge them essentially, regardless of how they feel, is what makes the brotherhood that much stronger. Is what makes us moving forward with the challenges that we will present each other that much more enjoyable, right? So I'll give you the example that we had the other day. So we were doing squats the other day, and when we were doing squats, we were struggling. We were struggling as we should be in the gym, right? We were trying to push past our perceivable limits, right? So maybe we're going up in weight, something along the lines of that. But essentially, what I had did was I pushed past his limit of what we thought of how far he thought we were going to go. So instead of going up, let's just say 10 pounds, we went up 20 pounds, right? And I said, go ahead and do it. And of course, he accepted the challenge and said, okay, I'm going to do it. And like I had mentioned, right, he could have easily said, nah, man, let's just do this, let's do this, right? And he didn't accept the challenge. He could have done that. But instead, he said, you know what? Unconsciously, he said this. You know what? If he believes that I can do it, then I should be able to do it. And maybe if he was by himself, he would have went down. Or maybe he would have never went that high in the first place. And that's just what it is, right? And there's really no problem with that. There's really no problem with that. If a person is fatigued, if a person is, you know, not getting the extra motivation or push, of course, you would want your brother to be there to push you forward. But like I said, if I wasn't there, if he wasn't there, maybe we would have stuck to a lighter weight. But instead, I had challenged him and he accepted the challenge. He successfully succeeded the challenge, right? And with that being said, now I challenge myself. Can I do that as well? If my brother could do it, why can't I do it myself? So I began to challenge myself. Maybe originally when I put on the weight, I anticipated in my own mind, I'm probably not going to be able to do this weight. Right? But since I seen him do it, it motivated me to accept the challenge because I knew my turn was the next turn. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and take forth with the challenge, and I'm going to go ahead and do it because I know that if he did it, I can do it as well. And like I said, if I was by myself, maybe I won't have that same perspective. Maybe I wouldn't have that same motivation. And maybe I would have not got as good of a workout because of that reason. And that's simply just what it is, right? And when he was finishing up, and let me go back a little bit. When he was finishing up his set, right, he was struggling, as he should be, because like I said, we added more weight than he originally anticipated. So let's just say the last few reps obviously are going to be the most difficult, right? So in amidst the challenge that I had set out for him, I had asked him a question when he was about to finish up his set. I had asked him a question to truly motivate him, and this was, imagine the person you would be if you were able to get these last 2 reps. And that was enough to push him forward. Maybe he would have quit. But since I said that, those encouraging words or that question that popped into his mind, it fueled him to get past the perceived discomfort and challenge. And so therefore, he was successful with this challenge. But just that one mindset, just that one push forward, just those encouraging words, just that challenge alone is going to get the best version of him. And he knows it, and I know it as well. And he does the same thing to me. Mid-set, he'll say, come on, you got it, man. He's encouraging me. even if there's any slight doubt that I can't do this, I start to pull from this confidence reserve that maybe won't be there if somebody else wasn't there. And that's exactly what it is, right? So usually how this is how it goes. You're confident up to a point, right? So once you start to get to that point, your mental starts to get challenged. Moving forward past this point, your mental is going to be challenged, and for the most part, you can observe this with most people. They just give up when they get to that point of mental challenge, and they know that they can stop because nobody's going to hold them accountable. And I'm not speaking just for myself. I'm speaking for most people. Maybe they feel tired. Maybe they don't feel motivated. Maybe they don't feel inspired, right? They would just give up right there. But hearing those words of encouragement is going to get you past the perceivable limits that you have for yourself. It is the difference between quitting when you know you can quit and not quitting because you know you have the support of somebody behind you. And that is the simple difference between the person that gets better by themselves and the person that gets better with other people around them that are constantly pushing them to see their perceivable limits, even past their perceivable limits. So with that being said, mid-set, I had got this idea, and like I said, it's going to be pertaining to the conversation and the motivation that I had instilled within him within that set, right? It was this thought, and I want you to go ahead and conceptualize this thought. I want you to go ahead and digest this thought as I say it, right? Just imagine who you would be if you were able to endure and overcome this obstacle in front of you. How empowering of a feeling it would be if you had the mental and physical resilience to push through the discomfort that this provides you in the present moment. Imagine how capable and confident you would be when encountering future struggle. You would have been tested, proven, and established when it comes to making it through tough times where you felt the slightest doubt creep in. You begin to build the confidence reserve. This is exactly what it is. It is nothing more than a confidence reserve. When, like I said, when the doubt begins to creep in, you have something that you can pull from that is honestly, like I said, it's testing the mental. It is simply just testing the mental. Without having this, or maybe you would have this by yourself, and I'm sure some people, and I would say even me, depending on certain workouts, if I feel motivated, right, I'm going to be able to pull from this confidence reserve. But it's only because I know I have the support of others, and it's only because I know that I've been tested and proven. I came out on the other end multiple times. So therefore, when approaching this challenge once again, I can and will essentially win. That's just what it is. I can and will win because I have before and I can do it again. And I have the confidence, like I said, the confidence reserve when the doubt begins to creep in. Most people, I would say, don't have that confidence reserve for many different reasons. So they have really nothing to pull from, so they're done. They're cooked. After doubts begins to start to creep in, when they say, "Okay, I'm on rep number 8 and I'm just going to 10." The difference between that person, when they get to 10, they're done. The people who have that confidence reserve, they're able to give you a few more reps. They're able to push past the limit that they place on themselves because they've done it before. It is a challenge, of course. It is a mental and a physical challenge. But if you are proven and you know you can thrive under those moments of when you know your physical and mental is being tested, it is going to get you a lot more past those obstacles, or what can be perceived as obstacles, more than the person who gives up when they know that they're done. It's knowing that you're done, but knowing that you're not finished. And it's as simple as that. So do you have one of those people within your life, in any aspect of life, where they're able to help you push past your perceivable limits? Where you tell yourself, "Hey, I'm going to go do this," and they say, "Hey, I bet you can do more than that." And you say, "Let's see." And it's as simple as that. And with that being said, your brothers should be your competitors that you battle with often. And I'm sure you guys have heard this before, iron sharpens iron. And that's simply how it is and how it always should be. So, with that being said, if you have friends that you believe have the best interests in mind for you, I want you to ask yourself, what do they push me in, or do they even push me at all? That'll begin to be all telling whether you have the right friends or whether you don't have the right friends. Now, as long as I could remember, me and Anthony always did this. We always did this. It's just a different task that we're doing. But essentially, we've done this throughout our entire lives. Whether it's playing basketball, whether it's playing competitively within one of our little games that we used to play as kids. But now the game is going to the gym, right? Testing each other and pushing past what we thought we could do with the motivation from our brothers. Like I mentioned, iron sharpens iron. But here's the thing, if you have nothing to sharpen you, if your friends are not sharpening you, if they're not fine-tuning your ability, then what are they there for? Are they there just for a good time? Ideally speaking, your friends should be there for a good time, of course. They should be there for the moments of celebration. They should also be there in the moments that push you. And also, you should be there for the moments that push them. That is how that bond gets built much stronger. A friendship without that is one that I wouldn't want, personally. It's one that I wouldn't want to apply my energy within. Because like I said, I know that with these challenges, the best version of myself is going to begin to emerge. And I know with challenging my brothers, I'm going to be able to see them evolve in real time. Their mental and physical evolve within real time when it comes to their mindset and approach when facing a challenge. With that being said, a reasonable challenge is a signal of unspoken and subtle belief. If your brother is challenging you to a reasonable challenge that you know is probably going to push you a little bit. But since he did it, you can do it as well. You might as well accept the challenge. Accept the challenge and see the benefit of your better self emerge. Because realistically, that is what they're there for. That is what they should be there for. They should be there to test you in the moments, maybe even when you don't want to be tested, but the moments that you know you should be tested. There's plenty of moments where me and Anthony will laugh. He'll do a set and he'll say, all right, we're going to do 12. He'll end up doing 15. All right, so I got to do 15 now, even though we originally set for 12. Now I got to do 15 because he did it. By him doing it and him pushing past his own limit, now I got to. I have no other choice now. And same thing with him. If I say, all right, we're going to go for 15 and I end up hitting 17, him in his mind know without me physically having to say it, verbally having to say it, it's a challenge. And now he has to participate within this challenge because he wants to be doing just as good as his brother. Of course, that's what healthy brotherhood is for. Is for you to be pushed with your brother. And it is simple as that. You begin to create this mindset, hopefully, that I have no choice but to do it as well. You have no other choice. I want to be better. I want to be just as good as my brother. So I have no other choice than to accept the challenge. And like I said, this goes past just a gym or just a physical, right? Or what could be perceived as the physical, right? This goes with ideas. Your brother should be there to challenge your certain ideas, to challenge your certain opinions that you have, to challenge the knowledge that you have, to be able to discuss it over a good conversation that is hopefully constructive to both of you guys. And like I said, if you don't have these brothers that are going to be able to do this for you, or that do this for you often, then do you even have the right friends? Masculinity is about testing the other person. Is about, like I said, pushing the envelope a little bit further, pushing the boundaries to see what will happen, simply just to see what will happen. So, like I had mentioned, the greatest thing a man can offer another is a reasonable challenge. Do you have people? Do you have other men in your life that are giving you reasonable challenges? And if not, you could be better. You could have better friends and you could do better yourself. So, why aren't you doing that? That is my challenge for you. If you do not have friends that give you reasonable challenges, I challenge you to find friends that are going to be willing to challenge you. There's only so much you can progress within your life when you're doing it alone. But if you have other brothers who have like-minded, who are like-minded and who have goals that are in common, it is much easier for you to get ahead in this life, as we are all social creatures. I'm not to diminish the amount of progress that you could make by yourself, but just know if you have another person that's saying, "Hey, look what I did," you have no other choice but to be fueled by that. To say, "I could do the same, or maybe I could even do better." And then when you do better, your brother's gonna say, "I could do the same, or if not better." And that is, like I said, that is the iron sharpening iron. Without that, life is a little less satisfactory, in my opinion. Life could be much better because at the end of the day, when the challenge is over with, when you both accomplish the challenge, right? Imagine the way that feels for a second. Obviously, conceptualize it within your mind, and like I said, maybe you even reference a time within your life where you have had this feeling. How good of a feeling was that when you guys both accomplished and both got better from that one interaction, physically, mentally, through conversation, right? Through developing your own ideas through conversation, of course. How much more of a rewarding feeling it is as opposed to having friends that don't challenge you at all. To me, that's no fun. Yes, like I said, being with friends is about having a good time, but in my opinion, having a good time is getting better. So, like I had mentioned, do you have any friends that want you to get better and that are actively pushing you to get better? Or do you not? And if you don't, what are you doing? Why not? Are you going to reject the challenge? Let me just say that, right? Let's just say you get challenged. Let's just say this week, right? You get challenged this week by somebody. Are you going to be the one that rejects the challenge? Are you going to be the one that says, "Bring it on. I can handle it"? Whether it's directly or indirectly said, it is a challenge nonetheless. They're challenging you, they're challenging your ability, and like I'd mentioned, you must evaluate whether this person has the best intentions in mind for you or not. But let's just say they do. Are you going to accept the challenge or are you going to take offense to it? Are you really going to get offended because this person wants to see the better version of you? Now, this is what I do time and time again. Like I said, obviously, it also depends on your delivery, but especially with ideas. This is what I do. This is what I do to the people all the time. I want to challenge the mindset that you have and why you have it to see if there's potentially a better idea, a better thought to have, a better habit to choose. I challenge people openly. Of course, this is obviously indirect. I'm not saying I challenge you to this. I'm saying, okay, you're doing this. Do you believe that there is a better alternative doing this? Or do you not? Why do you do the things that you do? If they're wrong, why do you continue to do the things that you do? I begin to challenge people because I truly want to see the best within every single person in my life. And the only way to do that is to challenge the ways in which they go about certain things, especially if you know that there's a better alternative. You challenge them. Like I said, you must cater this to every single person within your life, right? Because obviously some people are going to be more responsive to a certain challenge, a certain type of way as opposed to another person, right? Maybe you would challenge women a certain way as opposed to challenging men a certain way, or maybe you would challenge this person a certain way as opposed to challenging this certain way because you know that they're probably not going to be as responsive, or maybe they will, like I mentioned, just get offended and not get better. But nonetheless, I do believe that this spirit of masculinity needs to be revitalized within more people. I personally do not see this enough. I don't see relationships like mine and Anthony enough, or friendships of mine and Anthony enough, for the brotherhood of mine and Anthony's, where I see people pushing each other enough. And like I said, there's plenty of potential you out there. And if you're not surrounding yourself with people who want to get that out of you, then you're wasting your time. Your potential is being wasted. Nobody likes wasted time. Nobody likes wasted potential. So simply find people who are going to push you, accept the challenges, challenge them, and hopefully everybody gets better. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what you should want. When it comes to an interaction, the best case scenario is you getting better and them getting better. Then you must ask yourself the question of how would I even go about doing that? You do it by challenge. You do it by challenging their perceived limits, their mindsets, their ideas, their physical limitation, or rather lack of, their mental capacity. You challenge all these things to see what will happen. And like I'd mentioned, if it's an ideal scenario, both you guys get better. But the only way both you guys get better is through challenge, whether it's indirectly or directly. Challenge. A lack of this is a life that I would not want to live, if I'm going to be honest with you. And I wouldn't have it any other way with any of my friends. Any of my friends watching this goes beyond just Anthony, of course. All of my friends challenge me in some type of way. Like I said, physically, mentally, maybe even spiritually, right? And these things are absolutely necessary, in my opinion, to the brotherhood. Because like I said, what would life be like without this? And I wouldn't want to know. So with that being said, do you guys have any questions? Do you hear what I'm saying? I want to hear you guys' comments regarding this topic. If there's something that I've mentioned on today's episode that you've enjoyed, I want you to let me know. Whether you're watching this or whether you're watching this right now, let me know. Give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. All right. Yes, but that is essentially what I have to say for today's episode. I want to reestablish this one point that I mentioned earlier, right? Just imagine who you would be if you endured and overcome this obstacle in front of you. How empowering of a feeling it would be if you had the mental and physical resilience to push through the discomfort that this provides you in the present moment. Imagine how capable and confident you would be when encountering future struggle. You would have been tested, proven, and established when it comes to making it through the times where you felt the slightest doubt creep in. You begin to build the confidence reserve. When the doubt starts to creep in, you can pull from this motivation, you can pull from this inspiration, you can pull from this confidence that you've built up because you are a proven person, because you're an experienced person, and because you've done it before, so therefore you can do it again. That is very, very important. If you do not have people that are going to push you in that specific way, you're more likely to give up. You're more likely to quit. You're more likely to leave something in the tank. But if you have the people who push you, there'll be nothing left in the tank. You would have gotten better, they would have gotten better, and the world gets better because of that. responding to a comment, yes, the challenge is so necessary. There are so many areas in our lives that can use improvement. Exactly. The question is, do you have anybody that's going to hold you accountable? That's going to push you to do these things, or do you not? And if you don't, maybe you need to have more conversation. Maybe you need to seek out more people, different people. But this is how you get the best out of every single person. It's simply through challenge. Like I said, maybe it's indirectly, maybe it's specifically directly, but it's through challenge. Challenging ideas, challenging mindsets, challenging habits, challenging the physical, challenging the mental, challenging the spiritual, challenging all these different areas of life. This simply could just be, like I said, introducing an idea to somebody and saying, this idea, obviously this is indirect, of course, but this idea is challenging your idea. Which one's right, which one's wrong? Based off of what we have, based off of what you've experienced, and based off of what I just explained, which one is more right and which one is more wrong? With the knowledge that you have acquired, will you turn that knowledge into wisdom and make the difference? Make the change. Take on the challenge. Or are you not? And why not? See, the reason why most people don't accept the challenge is because they do not see it as a challenge. They see it as simply an attack. It's an attack on their current paradigm of life. And if they do not want their current paradigm of life challenged, and they want to stay in their box, then that's exactly what they will do. But I want you to recognize that's what it is, especially with yourself. If somebody's challenging you and you view it as simply an attack, you might have lost. That person might have gained something on you because of that. Or will you take it as simply a challenge for you to prove yourself? Or are you going to take it as an attack? Like I mentioned, evaluate the intentions of that person, and that's going to be all telling. But realistically, think about this. Without challenge, what is the alternative? The alternative is this: you living the exact same way and somebody knowing that you could be better and then not saying anything about it. That is the alternative. Let's say somebody isn't willing to challenge you. Let's just say there's a better version of you that exists if this person were to challenge you, but just because they knew that you weren't going to respond favorably to this challenge, they suppress themselves, because that is the alternative to challenge, is suppression, and say, nah, he got it. When you could have been better. So like I'd mentioned, what is the framing that you have when it comes to a challenge being brought forth to you? Do you embrace the challenge or do you reject the challenge? I believe as you get older, you're gonna take more and more offense. That has just been my experience with people. But nonetheless, the more youthful way to anticipate this and to process this is to accept it simply as a challenge and say, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. As simple as that, right? Let's just see what could happen. And that is where the most growth happens. Where most people can get better. Where everyone could truly get better within this challenge. Because like I'd mentioned, what is the alternative? Is there a better alternative? And if there's not a better alternative, then there's not a better alternative. It's simple as that. You must challenge people. You must begin to accept more challenges. You must be able to challenge other people, the ways in which they think, the mindsets that they have, the habits that they choose to uphold, especially if you know and they know what's right from wrong. Begin to challenge these people. That is how you improve people. You begin to improve people by challenging them. My challenge for you is this. The next time somebody gives you a challenge, hopefully a reasonable challenge, like I said, don't give anybody an unreasonable challenge or they're going to be completely turned off, right? But let's just say you give them a reasonable challenge. So like I said, let's just say you give somebody a reasonable challenge. Pay attention to the way in which they respond. That is all telling. That is all telling. Maybe they'll be resistant. Maybe they won't be. Maybe they will be open. But that is going to tell you exactly what you need to know about that person when it comes to their mindset, when it comes to their own self-belief, when it comes to the way that they perceive challenge, when it comes to how they perceive obstacle. Do they get offended or do they want to get better? Ask yourself that question. That's all I have to say for today's episode. I want to reestablish this one more time. A reasonable challenge is a signal of unspoken and subtle belief. Perceive it as that, and you will have a better life because of that. That is all I have to say for today's episode. I appreciate everyone stopping by. If you're watching this, let me know what you thought of it. If you're, like I said, if you're live, I'll stay on for a few more minutes. If you guys have anything, if you have anything else to say, maybe questions that could be had, or maybe you like something that I mentioned, make sure to go and leave in the comments. But yes, this experience that I've had recently has definitely been a profound one, and definitely one that I wanted to go ahead and talk about because it has been so impactful within my life time and time again. And I know other people can truly take something from this. And like I said, hopefully you have this. Hopefully what I'm saying isn't a foreign thing to you. Hopefully this is something that is an often occurrence for you. I would hope and pray that for you. I hope you get tested. I hope the people in your life are not afraid of testing you. And I hope you've been getting better because of this challenge, because of these challenges that these people have presented you with. Because like I had mentioned, what is the alternative? You stay exactly the same. And if you know you could be better, which everybody knows and everybody should know that they could be better, then hopefully you have challenge within your life. Life is going to challenge you anyways. People might be in the form of that challenge. So are you ready for the challenge? Or are you going to get offended? For me, I embrace the challenge because I know the challenge, and on the outside of that challenge is my better self just waiting for me. That's all I have to say. Appreciate you for stopping by. This was episode 181 of the Life of a Champ podcast, talking about the greatest thing a man could give another. Other than that, next podcast is going to be on Thursday, so tap in with that for sure. I'll be having more live streams coming up this week. I have a lot of free time, so I'll be doing more live streams. I'm still trying to figure out reactions and things like that, but I'll have that hopefully done by this upcoming week. Ideally, I would like to try to get it done this weekend. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for today's episode. If you liked today's episode, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on the video. Follow me on Twitch, TikTok, and on Rumble at All Life of a Champ Podcast. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto. Fellas, out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. We outwork. So make sure y'all work with these motherfuckers because you know that I am. You already know what time it is, fellas. All right, y'all have a good night. Like I said, next podcast on Thursday, so it's happening with that for sure. And continue to challenge people and continue to accept the challenges because, like I had mentioned, past the challenge is where your better self will be, waiting for you. And it's as simple